All right, welcome back. Today, we're going to dive deep into something that's basically invisible but powers our entire digital world. I'm talking about APIs. They're the secret sauce that lets all our favorite apps and services talk to each other. And today, we're going to unpack the entire toolkit.
I mean, have you ever stopped to wonder how that actually works? How does your food delivery app pull up a map from Google, process your payment through Stripe, and send you a text message all in one, perfectly smooth transaction? Well, the answer is this incredible symphony of different APIs, all working together behind the scenes.
Okay, so the simplest way to get your head around an API, that's application programming interface, by the way, is to just picture a waiter in a restaurant. You, the customer, you don't need to know how the kitchen works, right? All you need is a menu of options. You give your order to the waiter, they go deal with all the complexity in the back, and then they bring you back exactly what you asked for. That waiter, that is the API.
So if we're going to stick with that restaurant analogy, our first and honestly most common tool in the toolkit is that universal waiter. The one you'll find in pretty much every restaurant you go to? And in the API world, that's called REST. So how does REST work? Well, a REST API uses a set of really simple, clear commands, kind of like just telling the waiter what you want. You can say get to, see a user's profile. You can post to add a new friend, put to update your status, or delete to get rid of an old photo. It's super straightforward, and it uses the very same language the entire web is built on.
Now, here's what makes REST so incredibly powerful. It's this concept called statelessness. And what that means is that our waiter has, let's say, a very short-term memory. They take your order, they deliver it, and then they immediately forget all about it. Now, that might sound like a bad thing, but in the tech world, it's actually a superpower. It means they are always ready for the next customer, which lets the system scale up to serve millions, even billions of people without ever getting confused.
But what happens when you're not in a typical restaurant? I mean, what if you need something more specialized, like a high-security courier for a sensitive document, or maybe a Formula One pit crew for insane speed? Well, sometimes that universal waiter just isn't enough, and you've got to reach for a specialized tool.
Okay, first up is SOAP. Look, if REST is like a casual phone call to order a pizza, SOAP is like a formal, ironclad, legally binding contract. It has very strict rules, a precise structure using a language called XML, and it's not messing around. You would never use it for something like a social media app, but for things like bank transfers or government systems, places where security and absolute reliability are non-negotiable, SOAP is the trusted go-to standard.
All right, now let's talk about a completely different problem. The need for just pure, raw, unadulterated speed. And for this, we have gRPC, which was actually developed by Google. Just think of it as the Formula One race car of APIs, built from the ground up for maximum performance and precision.
So just how fast are we talking here? Get this. In a lot of scenarios, gRPC can be anywhere from 7 to 10 times faster than a traditional REST API. I mean, that is a massive, game-changing performance gain. And it's absolutely critical for systems that need to communicate internally at lightning speed, like all the tiny microservices running inside Netflix or Uber.
And the way it pulls off this incredible speed is by using something called protocol buffers. It basically compresses data into the super compact binary format instead of the plain text that REST uses. Honestly, it's like the difference between sending a tiny zipped file versus mailing a huge handwritten letter. The efficiency is just on a completely different level.
Okay, let's switch gears and look at another common problem with our good old universal waiter, REST. Sometimes, when you ask for just one little piece of information, like, say, a user's name, the waiter comes back and brings you their entire life story. Their name, their address, their order history, everything. This is called overfetching, and it's a huge waste of time and data, especially on mobile.
And this is where GraphQL, which came out of Facebook, completely changes the game. Instead of having a fixed menu, GraphQL basically lets you order exactly what you want, a la carte. So instead of getting that huge block of data, you can write a simple query asking for just the name and email. That's it. One request, one endpoint, and you get perfect, lean data back every single time. It's so efficient.
So up to this point, all the tools we've looked at involve our app asking for data. But what if we want the data to tell us when something new happens? This is a complete paradigm shift. It's the server saying, don't call us, we'll call you.
You see, the old way of doing this is called polling. And honestly, it's like constantly walking out to your mailbox to see if you have a letter. You check. Nope, nothing's there. You wait a minute. You check again. Still nothing. It is incredibly inefficient, and it wastes a ton of resources just asking, anything new? Anything new?
over and over again. A much better solution is something called a webhook. And you can think of this like a doorbell, right? You don't check your front door every 5 seconds to see if a package has arrived. You just wait for the delivery person to ring the bell. With webhooks, the server sends a little notification, a little ping to your app the instant an event happens, like when a payment goes through on Shopify or a developer pushes new code to GitHub.
And then, for the most demanding real-time needs, we have WebSockets. Now, this is like opening a permanent two-way phone line between your app and the server. Once that connection is established, both sides can talk to each other instantly, back and forth. This makes it absolutely perfect for things that need constant live updates, like a chat application, a live stock ticker, or online multiplayer games.
Okay, now for our final tool in the kit, which does something truly unique. It actually cuts out the central server, the middleman, entirely. This allows for direct browser-to-browser communication.
This technology is called WebRTC, which stands for Web Real-Time Communication. And this is the magic that powers all our modern video calls. Instead of your video stream going from your computer up to a server and then back down to your friend's computer, WebRTC creates a direct peer-to-peer connection. Your data goes straight from your device to theirs. No middleman.
So if you've ever used a video call service like Google Meet, or maybe shared your screen directly from your browser, or even played certain online games, chances are you've been using WebRTC without even knowing it. The result is faster communication, way lower latency, and even enhanced privacy because there's no central server listening in on your conversation.
So as you can see, when we talk about APIs, there's really no single best one. It's not about which tool is superior to all the others. It's about really understanding the problem you're trying to solve, and then picking the exact right tool for that specific job.
So let's put it all together. Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet. For your general day-to-day work, you've got REST. That's your universal waiter. For high-security, enterprise-level stuff, you'll want SOAP, the formal contract. When you need pure, blistering speed between your services, you're going to reach for gRPC, the race car. To fetch data with surgical precision, you'll use GraphQL, the precision shopper. For those instant event notifications, you have webhooks, the doorbell. For a continuous two-way conversation, you'll open up a WebSocket, the open phone line. And finally, for that direct browser-to-browser communication, there's WebRTC, the direct call that cuts out the middleman entirely. Every single one of these tools empowers developers to create the amazing, interconnected experiences we all use every single day. So, the only real question left is, now that you know the toolkit, what amazing thing are you going to choose to build next? Thanks for tuning in.